Hi, this is Julian, civil rights attorney in Chicago. I'm going to react to a video of some police officers who got into a physical altercation with someone who tried to disarm them.
Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Lay on the ground now! Don't grab the gun! Put your hands out! Don't move! You understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't move!
Yes, sir.
Put your hands back!
Okay, so let me pause it right there. First, for someone who has a weapon on him, the police officers clearly believe he has a weapon. I don't know what happened before this, whether there was a 911 call or if they follow him in there. I'm not really sure what happened, but they clearly suspect that he has a weapon. And I always tell people, don't fight the police, especially if you're armed. You know, police officers are trained to win, and if you get into a physical altercation with them, they're going to go up their what's called their force continuum, which is their levels of force they can use, from nonverbal to verbal to using their force options, which could be their baton, pepper spray, their taser, all the way up to their service weapon. So I just tell people, if you're going to fight the police, typically it's not going to end well for you. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but you really don't want to get into a physical fight with the police. It just never ends well for the person that wants to fight a police officer. And it's unlawful. Wow, he's
Don't
fighting.
do it! Do not you understand me?
Yes, sir.
Look out!
Put your hand down.
Hand.
I'm trying to. Put your
Hand out!
I'm trying to.
Don't move. Put your hand behind your back. Other one now. One to 10. Roll over. Heads up. You got it? Good. Stand up. We're getting out of the street.
So luckily for that individual, it didn't end with him losing his life. You know, I've been involved in a lot of police misconduct cases, a lot of police shooting cases, and I can tell you that I've seen people that have been shot by the police for less. And if this individual truly did have a weapon and the police knew he had a weapon and he was running away, I mean, I can think of right now so many different cases I've been involved in where someone was running away and they had a weapon and they didn't even point it at the police officer, but the officer perceived that person to be a threat or believed that they were reaching for the weapon, and they discharged their weapon, either seriously injuring that person or taking their life. So for this person who the police believed was armed to walk away without being tased, without being shot, without being seriously injured, or losing their life, is really a credit to the restraint that the officers showed, which is the restraint that we want to see from police officers, which is to assess the situation. If you have to go hands-on, you got to go hands-on, but to use deadly force as a last option. And they did not use deadly force in this situation, even though they believed this person to be armed. So this is the kind of the kind of restraint we want to see from our officers, as opposed to sometimes what we see, which are officers resorting to deadly force as a first option and not as a last option. So again, kudos to these officers for showing their restraint, but also to this individual. It really could have ended horribly for him, and it just wasn't worth it. Not sure what the crime was that he was suspected of, whether it had something to do with that convenience store he was in or whether he was wanted for another crime. But whatever the case may be, it's not worth it to fight police officers, especially if you're armed, because you increase your chance of frankly not making it out alive. So I always tell people, just don't fight the police. It's better to just fight your case later and move on with your life. But to lose your life because you wanted to fight the police is just not worth it. So if this were a case that somebody brought to me, I would have to decline it because I didn't see any excessive force here. I didn't see any unlawful actions on the police officer's behalf. I only saw unlawful actions on the part of the individual who decided to fight the police. So I'm sure he was charged with resisting arrest, battery to a police officer, and probably some other crimes that he was wanted for as well. So this would not be a case that I would take. I do not see it as excessive force. I don't see the police officers violating his rights at all. And this is actually the kind of restraint and professionalism we want to see from our police officers when they're encountering the public in these really dangerous situations.